All right, good evening. Welcome to Align. My name is Steve. Tonight we'll start. We're going to use 2 blocks and a strap, so I have those available. We're going to start kneeling on a block. So we're going to take the block and place it between your ankles. So one way is to come to all fours, place the block between your ankles. And we're going to sit back on the edge of the block. And you can adjust the height so we're comfortable. Rest your hands in your lap and gently close your eyes. Taking these next few minutes to really tune in to our breath. Relaxing your tongue down and away from the roof of your mouth. Relaxing your throat and your soft palate. And on our next inhale, we're going to slowly start to lengthen the breath to a slow 4 or 5 count in your head. This is a nice, long, steady inhale. As you inhale, can you bring the breath down into the belly, allowing the belly to expand like a balloon? And as you exhale, we gently pull the belly in to help empty the lungs. And taking your time, we'll slowly start to lengthen your exhale so that the inhale and exhale are the same length. After your next inhale, add a slight pause. Exhale and pause. And as your tongue, your throat, and your soft palate relaxes, as the breath lengthens, you may begin to hear your breath in the back of your throat. The sounds of the ocean. As you inhale, we hear the ocean waves swell and rise. As you exhale, the waves crash upon the shore. Ujjayi breath. Victorious breath. Victory over the pose, over the breath, and over the mind. We search for this breath as we settle into each pose. As the mind wanders, as the mind will do, bring our awareness back to this breath. I'll take a moment here without judgment or criticism and observe how your body feels. Just being aware of any areas that are holding tension, tightness, aches, or pains. As you observe your breath, being mindful of the effort it takes to fill the lungs. Is there any restriction, anything limiting you from taking a full breath? And lastly, we observe the stillness of our mind. Are you present on your mat? Or is the mind going from thought to thought? If you choose to do so, set an intention for your practice. I'm going to slowly open the eyes. We're going to extend the arms up to our sides, palms up toward the ceiling. Bring the arms in front, right arm over left. Bending at the elbows, left hand comes around, grabs that right thumb. And then lifting the elbows the same height as your shoulders. And breathe. And we slowly release, arms back out to your sides, palms up. And then crossing left over right, bending at the elbows. Right hand comes around, grabs that left thumb. And then lifting the elbows the height of the shoulders. And breathe. And release, arms back out to your sides. You can release the hands down. We're going to come to all fours. Set your block to the side. Hands under the shoulders, fingers spread wide, knees are under your hips, middle finger pointed straight forward. Inhale, drop the belly down toward the mat, arch and look up to the ceiling. Exhale, tucking the tailbone under, lifting your back, and the head hangs. Inhale, untuck the tailbone, belly drops, arch and look up. Exhale, tucking the tailbone under, lifting your back, and the head hangs last. One more, untucking the tailbone, belly drops, looking up toward the ceiling. Exhale, starting with the tailbone, lifting your back, head hangs last. And then slowly come to a neutral spine. Next inhale, we're going to take the right arm up toward the ceiling. Exhale, we reach behind the left arm to the left. Inhale up. Exhale through and reach. And one more, inhale up. Exhale through and reach. Drop your shoulder to your mat. Rest your head on your mat. And breathe. And we slowly come back to all fours. Next inhale, we take the left arm out up toward the ceiling. Exhale, reaching behind the right arm to the right. Inhale up. Exhale through and reach. And one more inhale up. Exhale through and reach, dropping your shoulder to your mat, resting your head. And breathe. And we slowly come back to all fours. Pressing your hands firmly into your mat. Tuck the toes under. Inhale, lift the hips up and back. Really pressing those hips up. Hands are pushing away. Keep both of the legs bent. Gaze toward your knees. Keeping the left leg bent as you take the right heel toward your mat. Bending the right leg, left heel toward the mat. You can go back and forth on your own here if you choose to do so. So wake up those legs. If you find one spot that has a little more tension, just breathe into it. Bring both the knees bent. And on an inhale, we take both of the heels toward the floor. Inhale, walk the feet forward between the hands. Halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Hang like a rag doll. Next inhale, we rise all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Inhale, lifting the arms. Left hand grabs your right wrist. And then exhale, we lean to the left, gently pulling on that right wrist to help lengthen through the entire right side of the body. Inhale to center, reverse your grip. Exhale, we lean to the right. And breathe. Inhale to center, release your grip. Gentle back bend as you look up toward the ceiling. And exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Shake your head, release all tension in your neck. And a halfway lift, hands find your shins. And on an exhale, hands come to the mat, step back to plank. Alakasana. Slowly lower all the way down with control. Point your toes. Inhale, lifting your chest. Cobra Bhujangasana. Keep those shoulder blades down, shoulders away from the ears. And breathe into your belly. Tuck your toes. Inhale, lift the hips up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And breathe. Next inhale, walk the feet forward between your hands. We come to standing. We're going to use the wall and a block. So we're going to revisit a little bit of alignment in Warrior One. So have your mat where it kind of comes out of the wall, and then have a block in your hand. I'll move this slightly. So we're going to come to the wall. Yeah, so you just need to like keep your room completely empty because you never know what I'm going to do, right? And I want you to come to the right side of your mat. You're going to take the toes of your right foot right to the wall. And I want the mat to go right through the center of your foot. Take your block, and you're going to place your block between your knee and the wall. So on the middle height. And then you're going to inch that left foot back and see if you can put your heel right on the edge of your mat. Toes will be pointed somewhere between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Hands come to your hips. And see if you can square the hips towards the wall so your hips are facing straight toward the wall. If that's challenging for you, then that left foot is just going to slide a little bit to the left. So you're a little bit away from the edge of the mat. Once the pelvis is squared to the wall, you can rest your arms on the wall or lift them up toward the ceiling as in Warrior One. And breathe. Relaxing your tongue, your throat, soft palate. Another breath. And you can release the arms down. You can grab your block. Release that right foot from the wall. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So we'll come to the left side of your mat. Left toes are on the wall. And that mat's going right through the center of your left foot. Block goes between your knee and the wall. Step that right foot back, and we'll start with the heel right on the edge of the mat. Toes here pointed towards anywhere between 1 and 3 o'clock, 1 to 2. Hands come to the pelvis, and can we square the pelvis forward? And you may find one side is easier than another. And if you need to, you can slide that right foot a little bit to the right if needed. Then once you're square to the wall, you can inhale, lifting the arms. Virabhadrasana 1. And breathe. And long, steady breath. Another breath. You can release the arms down, grab your block, come up off the wall, and you can set your block to the side. And we'll come back to the front of our mat. So we'll do that going in from downward dog, and I'll give a couple little clues on that. So feet and knees together. Inhale, lift the arms. Gentle back bend. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Halfway lift, plant the hands, step the feet back to plank. Exhale, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest, Cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, tuck the toes, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then just come down to your knees just for a moment. I'm going to talk just through a few points so you don't have to hang out in downward dog for 5 minutes. For most of us, the width of warrior one, so from the front foot to the back foot, that distance is usually narrower in warrior one than it is in warrior two. So a little trick to that, a lot of times when we bring our leg up, we always kind of put it between the hands. If you know you're going into warrior one, bring the toes in line with the wrists instead of the toes in line with the fingertips. It's only 6 inches or so different, but that will make a huge difference as you try to set your alignment with your legs as we go up into the pose. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We'll set the feet first, and then we'll lift the chest. Okay, so go ahead and come back to all fours. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Lift the right leg up toward the ceiling. When you bring it forward, toes in line with the wrist, right in the middle of your hands. So it's in between, right in the center of your mat. Left heel drops down. So if I look at my feet and I were to draw a line, it would go right through the center of my right foot to my left heel, just like that's the edge of the mat. Resting the chest on the right thigh. Extend the arms in front and inhale, lift the chest. If you need to, if the pelvis isn't squared forward, you can bring the hands down and assist. Or maybe we need to slide that left foot a little bit to the left. And then lift the arms. And breathe. Relax your tongue and your throat. Another breath. And on exhale, you're going to fold forward. Hands come to the mat. Rotate onto your left toes. Step back with the right. Exhale, lower. Toes point. Inhale. Bhujangasana. Tuck your toes. Lift the hips. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And left leg lifts. Left foot forward. Toes in line with the wrist. Right heel on your mat. And you can just slide the feet over if you need to for alignment. That line going right through the center of the left foot to the right heel. Resting the chest on the left thigh. Extend the arms. Inhale, lift the chest. And if you need to, you can drop the arms, help square the pelvis forward. And breathe. A long, steady breath. Another breath. And exhale, we fold forward, rotate on the right toes, step back with the left. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale to downward dog. And breathe. And next inhale, walk the feet forward between the hands. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. You can release the arms. Grab your block, and we're going to do chair pose, Utkatasana, on the wall as well, just to revisit how it feels in the back as we go into this pose. So you're going to take your block down onto the floor, and toes will go onto the block. It's a little hard to see, but I really want you to see how the knees and the legs are going to be. Your arms are going to be resting on the wall, just straight up overhead. And on an exhale, you're going to drop your hips. At some point, you'll start to tip back because you just can't stay in the pose anymore. But I really want you to focus on how upright the torso is. It's not a forward fold at all. Very good. And breathe. And be very mindful of how the pose feels, how it feels in the back, the hips, and the knees. And breathe. Inhale, rise back to standing. You can release your arms. Set your block to the side. We'll come to the front of our mat. Feet and knees together. Inhale, lift the arms. Being mindful of how that felt at the wall. On an exhale, drop the hips as if you're going to sit into a chair. Can you find that same feeling without the wall? And breathe. Inhale, we come back to standing and gentle back bend. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Halfway lift. Plant the hands, step back to plank. Lower with control. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, downward dog. Bring your knees to the outside edge of your mat. Big toes come together and touch. And on an exhale, drop the hips towards your heels, resting your forehead on your mat. And breathe. And then long, steady breath. Slowly walk the hands off the left side of your mat, right hand on top of the left. And we slowly walk the hands off the right side of your mat, left hand on top of right. Back to center, sliding the hands back underneath your shoulders, using your arms to slowly push up. And we are going to explore shoulder stand. I believe we've done this before. But I'd
Yes.
like you to take your mat and, I don't know, in about like 2-foot sections, kind of roll it, because we'll use that just to add some space for the shoulder. Okay. Um, I'll fully demonstrate how we get into it, and then we'll do it together. I'm gonna first have you take your strap and make it into a loop. So hopefully you have a buckle on it where you can make it into a loop. And the loop will be wide enough so that when I place it just above the elbows, my arms are about shoulder width apart. It's okay if they're a little wider. A little wider will be easier generally, especially depending on how tight your shoulders may be. Okay. So we'll take that off as we go into the pose. What I'm going to do with the mat is the top of my shoulders is going to come right to the edge of the mat. And that way my neck is kind of hanging in space. So my head will be on the floor, shoulders on the mat, and then there'll be a space between my neck and the floor. I'm going to, after I sit down, take my strap behind just above the elbows. And this kind of, if I look down on my side, I can kind of get a sense of where the mat or the blanket, if you have a blanket, that works as well. The only good way to get into this is like a leg lift. So I'm going to kind of put my hands on my mat, lift up, and then my hands find my back. You can walk the hands as you lift the legs. And then really use your arms as like a kickstand on a bike. So my arms are taking a lot of my weight, not my shoulders. We'll stay here as long as you are comfortable. And then we'll come down to plow. We'll visit that for a breath or two. Hands come to your mat. Lower the legs. And then we'll come up. Easy peasy. I'm going to grab my glasses so I can watch a little better. So think about pressing your palms into the floor and then kicking your legs up a little bit. There you go. Good. Yeah, the downside is flipping all the way over, right? That's
Normally
good.
that's how I get up.
So try no ballerina toes. So you're pressing it better, and that's really good. That's really good.
Do I want flat feet?
You kind of want flat feet. So it's almost as if you're pressing your foot up against the wall or up against the ceiling. Yeah. Very good. We want some space between your chin and your chest. So don't let that completely collapse chest into your chin. Keep your breath. Very good. It's really important. Yeah. Really important to watch your breath as you're in those poses, because as it changes, it's time to come down.
Okay.
You did really well. I'm going to show you where you were,
Okay.
so you can see what direction, as you're practicing, what direction to go. Okay.
Okay.
And this is pretty typical. It takes time and practice to get the legs more vertical. So you were, if I'm looking, trying to look at the camera, you were about here with your legs.
Okay.
Okay. It does take a lot of effort because it's gonna feel like you're gonna completely roll over. So you don't just take the legs back.
Right.
You need to do two things at the same time, kind of. I'm gonna walk my hands closer to my shoulder blades.
Okay.
So that gets my torso more up and down.
Okay.
Then when I'm here, I
Then
can take the
okay.
legs
I
back.
see. So like mine are.
So as you practice,
Yeah.
walking the hands first, get them as close to the shoulder blades as possible, and then the legs follow.
Okay.
Okay, that's a really good place to start where you're at. And as long as your neck is off the floor, you can spend as much time in that pose as what's comfortable for you.
Okay.
All right. Any questions on that?
No, normally I don't like it just because I'm never really good at it, but it gives me a place to start, you know.
Yeah, you had really nice alignment where you were on your mat with your shoulders looked really well,
Okay.
as best I can see from here. So, yeah, I think it's it's like headstand that we did, right? It's such a
Yeah.
tremendously beneficial pose, both for your shoulders, stability, and the whole blood flow thing. So, yeah,
Right.
if you can add it to your practice at all, I always use a blanket or a mat. I don't need to. I can pull myself up off, but you never really want your neck jamming into the floor, right? So detach from the ego part of that.
Okay.
I always use a blanket and I always use a strap because then I can stay in the pose longer.
Right.
Um,
I thought
and
that
it,
was kind of
yeah,
interesting
and
too, the
it really will open
using
up
the
the
strap.
shoulders and everything too. So
Because they're not, you know,
yeah, you think about when
oh
you're
no, they're
standing,
gonna
right?
flay out or something. Yeah.
Yeah, heels are under your knees when you're standing. You want your elbows underneath to help not wung out like this. So,
Okay.
um, if you can get to the point where you don't use a strap, and I don't need one, but I
Right.
can't stay in a pose as long.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, right.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and lie on your back. You can roll your mat back out if you'd like. And we're just going to visit fish, Matsyasana. So rest on your back. Hands under the buttocks, but palms are on the mat. And on an inhale, we're gonna come up onto the elbows. Maybe walk the elbows a little closer together and allow your head to hang. And breathe. And exhale, release down. You can remove your hands. We're going to just stay here on our back. And go ahead and bring your right knee into the chest, interlocking the fingers above or behind the knee. Maybe even gently close the eyes, relax your tongue and your throat, your soft palate. And breathe. Grab the outside of the knee with your left hand, extending the right arm out to your side. And on an exhale, take the knee across your body to the left. Allow your gaze to fall where your neck is comfortable. And breathe. 'Breathe. 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 ' And inhale, we come back to center. And slowly straighten the right leg back down. So we bend the left leg, bringing interlocked fingers above or behind the knee. And pull that knee up into the chest and breathe. And grabbing the outside of the knee with your right hand, extending the left arm out to your side. Exhale, we take the knee across the body to the right. And breathe. And then back to center, slowly straightening left leg down to your mat. You want to bend both legs, palms of the feet on your mat. Place the right ankle on the left knee. And we'll interlock the fingers above or behind that left knee as we pull that left knee in the chest. Releasing the right hip, the right glute. And breathe. And relaxing your tongue and your throat. And slowly release your left leg. Uncross the right. And place the left ankle on the right knee. Interlocking the fingers above or behind the right leg as we pull that right knee into the chest, releasing the left hip. And breathe. Another breath. And slowly release, uncrossing the left leg. You're going to keep your feet planted on your mat. And on an inhale, you're going to press your feet into the mat, lifting your pelvis. Hands come underneath, interlock, or you can just press into your mat. And breathe. You can release your hands, slowly lower with control. Bring both of the knees into the chest. You can give them a little hug, or if you care, you can do happy baby. The arms come between the legs, grabbing the bottoms of the feet. And breathe. And release the legs. And extend the legs out straight. Bring your big toes together to touch. Heels are about hip distance apart. And on an exhale, you're going to release the legs so the feet fall out to your sides. Arms come to your sides, palms down on the mat. Press down gently just to bring the shoulder blades down to rest more firmly on the mat. Then turning only the forearms, palms up toward the ceiling. And then think about making the neck long on the back. So wherever your head is resting, see if you can lengthen the back of the neck and then rest the head back down. Gently close your eyes. Relax your tongue. Relax your throat and your soft palate. With each exhale, release and relax, allowing the body to become heavy and to sink into your mat. You may even have the sense as if you are floating in water with just the chest and the face floating above. Nothing to achieve, nothing to accomplish. Simply breathe and allow the passive breath to breathe you. Slowly begin to lengthen your breath. As your breath lengthens, start to bring awareness into your hands and your feet, gently moving your fingers and toes. With each inhale, allow this awareness to move up your arms and up your legs, back into the body as we begin to reawaken. And slowly bend both of your legs so the bottoms of your feet are resting on your mat. Slowly lifting your right arm, resting it on the mat above your head. And as your breath moves you, keeping the eyes closed, roll onto your right side. With each exhale, release and relax. As your breath moves you, keeping the eyes closed and the head heavy, slowly push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And rest your hands in your lap, bringing your awareness back to your breath. A long, steady, even breath. Take a moment to check in with the body, recalling how we felt when we began our practice. Simply observing any change. As you observe your breath, observing if the effort it takes to fill the lungs has changed in any way. And lastly, we observe the stillness of the mind. Give yourself thanks and gratitude for taking time out of your day for you and for this practice. Be gentle, be kind, be humble, be wise. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Thank you.